In this video, I'm going to be discussing blended learning, specifically student engagement for Module 1 for our Introduction to Blended Learning course here at JTHS. The software or digital format that I'm using to document the main points of the article I chose today is Prezi. Let's go ahead and get started. The purpose of me researching student engagement is because I feel that it is one of the foundation blocks of blended learning. As you can see from this infographic, it is one of the initial steps that will lead us to deeper understanding with our students. It will help create motivation in the learning environment and help lead our students to developing critical thinking skills. The other reason why I chose to research student engagement is because I wanted a better understanding of some of the strategies already being used in a blended learning environment. The case study that I chose was student engagement in blended learning environments with lecture-based and problem-based instructional approaches. I pretty much did an advanced Google search through Scholar articles and found this one. So let's talk about how the study was performed and the results. The study was done at a university in 2 computer networking courses over a 2-year time period. As you can see on the left side, during the first 8 weeks of the course, it was all lecture based. And on the right hand side, you'll notice that the second 8 weeks was problem based. Both of these were in a blended learning environment. There were also face-to-face classroom meetings, but the classroom activities were different. The course met twice a week. In the blended lecture-based approach with online content, the activities were as follows. The instructor presented the content. Discussion of the content took place among the instructor and other students, and hands-on laboratory activities were conducted. In the blending of problem-based approach, the classroom activities were as follows. An ill-structured case with problems related to the week's content was provided and explained. Students were required to work in groups of 2 to discuss the case and determine what they needed to know, and students were asked to write a problem statement and possible solutions. Students were required to deliver a report with possible solutions in 2 weeks. So now that you have an understanding for how the study was done, let's talk about how they recorded the data. The students were given 2 confidential surveys. First, on the left, an entry survey was administered to measure student abilities and motivational aspects at the beginning of the study. Second, on the right, an engagement survey was conveyed at the end of the first half of the course to measure student engagement in blended learning with lecture-based instruction. And finally, the same engagement survey on the right was completed at the end of the blended problem-based instruction part of the class. This same design was used both years for both networking classes. Let's move on to the results. This infographic, taken from Dreambox Learning, depicts some of the positive aspects of using a problem-based project in a blended learning environment. I feel that all of these are key positives, but some of the few that I feel are the most important are number 2, productive failure, because I feel it's good to fail because you're going to learn from your mistakes, and which will also then in return help build confidence. And one of the other really important ones that I feel is a huge factor is the enhances intrinsic motivation. For a student to want to do something and to want to excel is a key part in taking control of their education. For number 2, the data also reported that students said that their active learning in academic activities during the problem-based environment was significantly higher because of the amount of time they chose to spend on the academic activities. And for number 3, student satisfaction was also at a high for both blended learning environments, the lecture-based and the problem-based. And as a result, both blended learning environments were effective. My conclusion after researching and going through this study is that student engagement is a building block of any strategy we decide to use in any educational environment. I also found that after comparing the two different strategies in this study, problem-based learning is the way to go to help improve student engagement. My reasoning behind this is because it gives the students a choice. They are given options and can differentiate the instruction based on their own strengths. The second reason why I feel it improves student engagement is because traditionally the lecture-based method of instruction gives students a passive role in their learning process, whereas the problem-based learning method of instruction encourages students to actively engage in information seeking. Students during this study reported significantly higher use of active learning strategies during the problem-based learning part of the course, in comparison to the lecture-based blended learning part of the course. Problem-based learning increased student engagement in blended learning environments similar to traditional learning environment. And here are the resources or references I used for this screencast. Number 1 is the link to the case study that I used, and then number 2 has the links to all of the infographics that I used for some of the graphics throughout this presentation.